it's you straight. You did it like I'm 15, 16 years old. And she laying on the couch. And I'm sitting on the other end, and she laid down on the couch and put her head in my lap. I'm like, damn. He can't be talking about Mary was talking about she wanted me to come back up here, and now she on my lap. And I'm sitting there and I'm wondering, I'm like, okay, what is this gonna end up to? And she stayed a couple more hours. And we decided to go in the other room because it was a suite. We went in another room and laid down. And she laid down with me, and she kind of like backed up against me, and every time she backed up against me, I would move away and shit,
Danny Boy just dropped some serious claims about Diddy and Mary J Blige. He says that when he was only 15, Mary, who was 24 at the time, allegedly pulled him into a threesome, and Diddy was in on it. Now there's talk that Danny might be called to testify in Diddy's ongoing legal troubles. According to Danny, Mary didn't just have a thing with him. She allegedly had similar encounters with others, too. And if that's not shocking enough, he also claims that Mary got pregnant by Diddy, and that Diddy pressured her to end the pregnancy. So now the big question is, was Mary a victim in all this, or was she helping Diddy cover things up? And was she also cheating on Tupac with Danny? It's a tangled situation. People have been saying for a while that once Diddy's secrets started coming out, other celebrities would be exposed too. That seems to be happening now, with Mary's name being brought into the spotlight, but not in a good way. Danny Boy, who was signed to Death Row Records, has been doing interviews where he's telling his side of the story. He says this all started back in 1995 after the Source Awards. At an after-party in a hotel, he was invited to hang out with some big names, Mary J Blige, Diddy's baby mama Misa Hilton, and others. Danny was in his room when someone called and told him to come join the party. Being a big fan of Mary, he was starstruck when he saw her. He had some drinks with the group and later went back to his room. But then, he got another call saying someone wanted to see him. He assumed it was one of the women from the party. But when he showed up, the only ones in the room were Mary and Misa.
We was talking, I think I left out, and Suge called me back up to the room. He said, come back upstairs, man, or old girl want to see you. This old girl. I'm thinking one of the other girls. Mary sitting on the couch. So I know the girl that he in the bed with don't want me. So I went in, he closed the door and shit, and I sit down and I start talking to Mary. And the inside, I'm about to lose it, because I'm actually sitting here talking to Mary. She's sitting on the couch and shit, and we ordered some food and some more drinks.
Danny Boy continued his story, saying that while he was sitting on the couch with Mary J Blige, someone suddenly knocked on the door. He said Mary panicked and quickly hid, afraid it might be her boyfriend at the time, K-Psy from Jodeci. Their relationship back then was known to be rough and even violent, so she may have feared he was coming to cause a scene. But it turned out to be a false alarm. When she realized it wasn't K-Psy, she calmed down and went right back to flirting with Danny like nothing happened. He said she laid her head on his lap, started touching him, and things escalated quickly from there. According to him, the moment got very intense, very fast.
16 years old. And she laying on the couch. And I'm sitting on the other end, and she laid down on the couch and put her head in my lap. I'm like, damn. He can't be talking about Mary was talking about she wanted me to come back up here, and now she on my lap. And I'm sitting there and I'm wondering, I'm like, okay, what is this gonna end up to? And she stayed a couple more hours. And we decided to go in the other room because it was a suite. We went in another room and laid down. And she laid down with me, and she kind of like backed up against me, and every time she backed up against me, I would move away and shit,
Danny said that night didn't end with just flirting. They ended up sleeping together, and according to him, that was only the beginning. He claims it turned into a secret affair that went on for a while. He says Mary even flew him out to New York so they could spend more time together. What made things even more confusing for him was that she acted like they were in a real relationship. Danny says he honestly thought he was her boyfriend. What he didn't know at the time was that Mary was also involved with both Tupac and K-Ci around the same period. Clip 4, even after everything that happened, Danny still says he truly believed they were in a real relationship. To him, it wasn't just a one-time thing. But looking back now, it's clear that Mary didn't see it the same way.
From that time, I had an opportunity to go out to New York and visit her a couple more times. Well, you know, that's why I was kind of confused when I heard Kurt saying that Mary was pot girl. Because at that time, she was my girl. At that time, I'm 15, 16 years old, and she flying me in to see her. And you know what it is when a girl back up on you, you young, and I'm trying to show her that she ain't phasing me.
Or even after everything that happened, Danny still says he truly believed they were in a real relationship. To him, it wasn't just a one-time thing. But looking back now, it's clear that Mary didn't see it the same way.
Early on, you was messing with Mary.
Well,
okay,
you know,
how did you think about
that time I wasn't.
You know, I mean, I kind of was, but wasn't. That's what I'm saying. How did you think? Like, what did you feel like? Okay, yeah, I like Mary, or you just was like, was she taking advantage of you because you were young?
No, I mean, you know, that was Mary J. Blige.
She was young too.
She was young too, and that was Mary J. Blige. And when I brought that story up, because a lot of people thought that I was like trying to Me Too. I mean, I wouldn't have used her. I got somebody I could Me Too if I want to, but it wouldn't be Mary. I said it in the conversation of, you know, somebody else was saying how Mary was somebody's girl, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute, no, it wasn't. That was my girl.
Here's where things take a twist. According to Danny Boy, the relationship between him and Mary J. Blige wasn't something she came up with on her own. He claims she learned it from Diddy. Back in the day, Diddy and Mary were extremely close. She was a rising star at Uptown Records, and he was one of the top execs there. Looking back, it raises some serious questions. Several people have since accused Diddy of similar behavior during his time at Uptown. Danny says that Diddy didn't just know about the situation with Mary. He allegedly pushed it. When Danny hesitated to get involved with Mary, he claims Diddy pressured him, even threatening to ruin his career if he didn't go along with it. Danny believes that's the real reason his music career eventually stalled. He says he got fed up with being treated like Diddy and Mary's boy toy, someone they'd call on whenever they felt like getting freaky. No matter where he was or what he was doing, he says they expected him to drop everything and fly out to meet them. If that sounds familiar, it's because it echoes some of the disturbing claims Cassie made in her own lawsuit against Diddy. The pattern is similar. Sudden demands, emotional control, and explosive reactions when things didn't go his way. Based on Danny's story, Diddy may have been behaving like this as far back as the 1990s. And let's not forget, Diddy was running the Puffy Flavor camp at the time, surrounded by young men living under his roof. The whole picture is disturbing, and there's a lot to unpack here. One thing that gives Danny's story more weight is how close Mary and Diddy actually were. While most people think of Diddy and Jay-Z as tight, Diddy and Mary had an even longer bond. They were practically inseparable during the early 90s. Diddy helped produce Mary's first albums, including her breakout debut, What's the 411? And they stayed close for years. In interviews, Diddy has always praised Mary, calling her a pioneer and one of the best voices in R&B. He once said, Mary J. Blige is one of the greatest storytellers in R&B history. She gave women around the world the courage to speak their truth. More than just my sister and best friend, she's a true queen of hip-hop soul. But by the late 90s and early 2000s, their relationship took a serious hit. They had a major falling out and stopped speaking completely. Eventually, Mary opened up about what really happened. Mary J. Blige eventually opened up about the falling out she had with Diddy. She took full responsibility for it, admitting she was in a dark place back then. She said her life was a mess. She was struggling with drugs, and she wasn't in a position to maintain friendships or professional relationships. That moment of honesty helped clear the air between them and eventually led to them reconnecting and working together again. In her words, "The real reason we split up is me not understanding the business the way I needed to. He had a label, a female artist, and Biggie. But I was really dogging myself. I was on drugs. Any smart man or businessman would have walked away from me." She added that she now understands why Diddy seemed distant at the time. She wasn't showing up as her best self. But then the story takes another troubling turn. Danny Boy claims there were deeper issues in Mary's relationship with Diddy. Issues that went far beyond business. He said their private interactions were not loving or respectful. In fact, he accused Diddy of being forceful and controlling with Mary during their time together. He also alleged that Mary once became pregnant by Diddy, but that he didn't want the baby and made her end the pregnancy. According to Danny, the experience was so traumatic that it made Mary decide never to have children. Mary seemed to hint at this in a past interview, saying, "I have nieces and nephews forever. I'm always seeing people scramble for babysitters. I don't want to go through that. I like my freedom to move and do what I want. I don't think having kids is going to happen for me." What confuses people now is how Mary suddenly started, acting like she and Diddy were never close, despite years of appearing to be close friends. For a long time, it seemed like they had moved on from the past. But recently, she's been trying to distance herself from him completely. According to insiders, there's a reason for this sudden shift. Apparently, federal investigators have started looking into Diddy's past. And they may have come across some questionable stuff involving Mary, too. She's reportedly trying to cut ties before her name gets dragged into anything. One of the biggest concerns? Her alleged affair with Danny Boy. While it likely can't lead to legal trouble now because of the statute of limitations, being publicly exposed for a relationship with a teen could seriously damage her image. And it's that fear, according to sources, that has her backing away from Diddy as quickly as possible. Things get even more disturbing when you hear what Danny Boy claims next. He says both Mary J. Blige and Diddy pressured him into taking part in their private freak-off sessions, and it was far from consensual. Just when you think this story couldn't get any darker, new reports are surfacing that Mary might also know more than she's letting on, specifically about what really happened to Aaliyah. As most people remember, Aaliyah tragically died in a plane crash at just 22 years old, right as her career was reaching new heights. But for years, rumors have circulated that her death may not have been a simple accident. And now, whispers are growing louder that Mary and even Diddy's inner circle might know the real story. Here's what people are saying. Aaliyah wasn't even supposed to be in the Bahamas that day. The music video she was shooting was originally scheduled to be filmed in Florida. But out of nowhere, the director, Hype Williams, changed the location to the Bahamas at the last minute, reportedly without even checking with Aaliyah. Once the shoot wrapped up early, there was no clear plan for getting everyone back to Florida. Aaliyah contacted her friend Lenny Kravitz, and he offered to send his private jet for her. But then something odd happened. Hype Williams allegedly stopped her from boarding Lenny's plane, saying he had made other travel arrangements. The plane Hype arranged was small and reportedly not safe for that many passengers. On top of that, the pilot was allegedly under the influence of drugs. The plane ended up overloaded and dangerously heavy. Here's where it gets even more unsettling. Aaliyah supposedly felt something wasn't right and initially didn't want to get on the plane, but reports claim she may have been given a sedative and then carried onto the aircraft while unconscious. Tragically, the plane crashed shortly after takeoff, killing everyone on board. Mary J. Blige has talked about Aaliyah's death before, and what she's said has raised eyebrows. She once called it a spiritual murder and hinted that there was more to the story than the public knows. That kind of comment, especially now, has people wondering how much Mary really knows and what secrets are still being kept about Aaliyah's final moments.
I was you know what I'm saying? I was a spiritual, whether people know it or not, because God don't kill people. You know what I'm saying? Whether people know it or not. And I could go deep, but a lot of people I would have to really bring, you know what I'm saying, for what I learned. And she just was cut down in the prime of her life. And it's so unfair. And it wasn't time. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, I believe it wasn't her time to go because from what I know, it ain't supposed to go down like that. And just simple obedience, like, you know, your gut always won you. Just that your gut never lies to you. And something like luggage and clothes and jewelry and all this madness that we worship is called false idols. We need to really look at the bigger picture right now.
Back then, Mary J. Blige didn't name names publicly, but people close to the situation say she believed Diddy might have been involved in what happened to Aaliyah. Rumors in the music industry suggested that Diddy could have gained millions from Aaliyah's death. The stories about Aaliyah being sedated before boarding that plane sound disturbingly similar to accounts from women who have accused Diddy of doing the same to them. If that wasn't shocking enough, there's talk that Aaliyah had damaging information about both Diddy and R. Kelly. Everyone knows how R. Kelly controlled Aaliyah when she was just 15, and if she really did have secrets on both men, especially with all we're hearing about Diddy now, it's not hard to believe some of these rumors could be true. Mary was deeply involved with Diddy for a long time, but she made it clear she's done with him. To show she's serious, she posted on Instagram saying, "Unfortunately, a lot of you met me when I lacked boundaries and was a people pleaser. Let me reintroduce myself. I burn bridges as needed." Honestly, it's no surprise she wants to distance herself given the accusations about her being involved in Diddy's freak-offs. But here's the thing. Danny Boy isn't the only one saying Mary was part of those wild situations. She's also been linked to other secret gatherings with Diddy and others. There's a lot more to this story, and this is just the beginning. What do you think about all this? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to check out the next video.